Good afternoon. This is Reverend William Holdipp from Faith Deliverance Center. One of the New Testament Church of God on Smith Hill in the island of Bermuda. I'd like to say to you, have a Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. However, today we will speak to you out of the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 1 to 3. And we would like to use for our topic, know that foolish behavior, even a little, is dangerous. Know that a foolish behavior, even a little, is dangerous. In Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 1 to 3, it is recorded, "There flies cause the ointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinking savor. So does a little folly him that is in reputation for wisdom and honor. The wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart is at his left. Also when he that is a fool walketh by the way, his wisdom faileth him, and he said to everyone that he is a fool." You're going to read those 3 verses one more time. "There flies cause the ointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinking savor. So does a little folly him that is in reputation for wisdom and honor. The wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart is at his left. Also when he that is a fool walketh by the way, his wisdom faileth him, and he saith to everyone that he is a fool." Foolish behavior spoils the reputation of a wise person. For there flies cause the ointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinking savor. So does a little folly him that is in reputation for wisdom and honor. In the same way that one piece of bad fruit can ruin a whole basketful, one foolish sinful act in a person's life can taint and destroy a long, consistent record of wisdom. Solomon offers a word picture to imprint this truth in our minds, that of an expensive bottle of vial of perfume, picked the finest quality the designer can make. It is mixed from some of the most precious and fragrant substances, and it emits an aroma that delights the senses. In fact, a considerable price was paid by its buyer to indulge in the pleasure of its scent. But somehow flies made the way into the bottle, drawn in its liquid, and the corpses floated on top. Suddenly the perfume is worthless. Corpses and precious ingredients of which it was made are wasted, and its former value is no longer a consideration. Core of its value, its purity and distinctness has been corrupted, and its usefulness has been destroyed by the presence of dead flies. In the same way, one senseless, impulsive mistake, just one, can sabotage a person's reputation, testimony, and influence. So a set of skills One side of the balance is a lifetime of careful, consistent, and upright living. On the other side is one mindless, wayward act. Scripture says this one indiscretion tips the scales and overshadow years of good judgment. It is a sad fact of life, but a fact nonetheless. Solomon is speaking again about the importance of a good name. Remember, he earlier compared a good name to precious perfume in Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 1. Reference is the same in this verse. Teacher continues the metaphor and stresses that just one sensitive act blemishes a person's good name, often ruining his or her reputation and honor. Remember in verse 2 and 3 of Ecclesiastes chapter 10, foolish behavior exposes a corrupt heart. A person's heart determines his or her actions and words. Therefore, foolish behavior is the fruit of a corrupt heart. Consider Jesus' words. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is good. And an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. Of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh. Luke chapter 6, verse 45. A foolish heart is a sign of immaturity. Foolishness, we're told, is born in the heart of a child. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 15. Notice how the corrupt heart betrays itself. A corrupt heart pulls a person toward dishonorable deeds. What is the author referring to by the right and the left in this verse? The Hebrew word yeim is often translated in the Old Testament as right hand, or refers to the right side of the body. And because the majority of people are right-handed, the right hand is often viewed as the hand of strength and dexterity. By comparison, the left hand is seen as the weaker hand, less skilled, while some translations offer this rendering. A number of other commentators interpret verse 2 as meaning that a wise man leans toward his strengths rather than his weaknesses. Right hand was also seen as a place of honor, while the left hand was viewed as a seat of dishonor. In this context, Solomon seems to be saying that the wise man leans toward what is honorable and strengthens his reputation, while the foolish man leans toward what is dishonorable and harms his reputation. Corrupt heart shows a person's lack of sense. J. Ranoma D. states this position quite effectively. A fool does not have to carry a placard on himself that says, "I am a fool." Fact of the matter is that all he has to do is open his mouth. Sometimes he doesn't even have opened his mouth to prove that he is a fool. But through the course of a day, a person's words and actions will witness to the foolishness within his or her heart. It is the integrity of the walk that earns a person a reputation of honor or dishonor. And for that reason, the fool cannot disguise his foolishness. As believers, we must always be concerned about our testimony before others. Someday soon, we will stand before the Lord in judgment to give an account for our influence upon others, whether good or bad. Think about these great men of faith whose testimonies were marred and lives forever changed by murmurs of indiscretion, murmurs of sensitive behavior. Abraham's influence was compromised, cause of his dishonesty, and including that Sarah was his sister rather than his wife. In fact, Pharaoh ejected him from Egypt because of it. Genesis chapter 12, verse 10 to 20. Noah's testimony was damaged by one episode of shameful drunkenness. Genesis chapter 9, verse 20 to 22. David's life and family were forever changed by one weak moment of indulgence in the lust of the flesh. 2 Samuel chapter 11. Moses' destiny was altered by one rash act of frustration, impatience, and anger. Numbers chapter 20, verse 7 to 13. All of these men were still used by God, but their effectiveness as well as their testimonies were damaged by their personal failures. And though their old lives are still shining examples to the world, brightness has been dimmed by the reckless acts. If these heroes of the faith had their image defiled by personal corruption, although it was brief, how much more can we? It is vitally important that we walk in total and humble dependence upon the Lord. Must be filled with the Spirit and clothe ourselves daily in the armor of God. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10 to 18. With the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, must always be ready to battle against temptation. Paul tells us in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 26 and 27. I therefore shall run, not as uncertainly, for I not as one that beateth the earth, but I keep under my body, and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I preach to others, I myself should be a castaway. In 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8, Peter wrote, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walking about seeking whom he may devour. In Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23, keep thy heart with all diligence, out of it are the issues of life. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 16, every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool laid open his folly. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 2, the fool had no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover its soul. In Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 22, for my people is foolish, having not known me. They are Scottish children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. Our topic for today, know that foolish behavior, even a little, is folly. Know that foolish behavior, even a little, is folly. Found in Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 1 to 3. God bless you and be with you as the prayer of our hearts.